Hey guys, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. It's time to talk about things that are not books, other hobbies that I enjoy. And today on Beyond the Page, we are talking about my top 10 most iconic rock vocalists. So if that's your thing, stick around. If you need to grab snacks or drinks, I totally understand. Do that now. I'll be right here when you unpause the video. And I'm going to start out with some honorable mentions because there are just some music legends that can't be quantified. They can't be put in a top 10 list. And so I'm going to get those out of the way right off the bat, okay? And we are going to start with Billy Joel. Billy Joel is at the top of my honorable mentions list because he is my absolute favorite musician of all time. He does fit in the rock category, but he's kind of all over the place a lot. He is really well known for pop music and ballads and just a wide range of musical talent and vocal talent. And I don't think anybody would disagree with the statement that Billy Joel has one of the most iconic voices in the industry. So, Billy Joel is my first honorable mention. The second one is Elton John. Elton John is a fantastic musician, performer, vocalist, just an all-around smash hit recording artist. And he, again, has one of those voices that you just know when it's Elton John singing. I have really enjoyed his career and his music. I haven't followed him as closely as I have some of the others on this list, but he's just one of those that I don't think you can necessarily put in a category or a top 10 list. He just is. You know, he's Elton John. And you don't get artists like that very often. And again, he has a wide range of musical talent and repertoire, and I think he's just a fantastic performer. I remember seeing him on a music awards show way back in the day. I was in high school at this point, guys. And one of my favorite songs at the time was November Rain by Guns N' Roses. And I remember watching a music awards show where Axl Rose and Elton John did a piano duet for that song. Axl Rose did the singing, but Elton John accompanied the song along with him while he sang it, and it was just mind-blowing. Elton John is great, and I'm really glad I got to experience his music for myself. And the last one on this list is David Bowie. And again, he doesn't deserve to be put on a top 10 list. That would minimize him. But I have to talk about David Bowie because I really, really love his music. And especially Ziggy Stardust, I think is one of the best albums ever written. He has been such an icon in the entertainment industry in general, not just in music, but in movies, and he's well known for his top 100 books of all time, and just such a great thinker and a great person, and I'm really sad he's gone. All right, we are going to get to my top 10 list. And we're going to start this with number 10 being Ozzy Osbourne. Now, I didn't start listening to Ozzy until after his Black Sabbath days. I have listened to some Black Sabbath, but it was kind of going back, you know, to listen to some greatest hits. But I didn't really start listening to Ozzy until I was in high school. A lot of my friends were really into Ozzy, and so I started hearing some of his music, and he definitely has one of those iconic voices that you just never forget. And his vocal range and the sheer emotional weight behind so many of his lyrics, and he just adds the punch when you need to add punch to it, and he's just a fantastic performer. And I never really listened to him a whole lot, but when I did hear him, I really enjoyed his music. And this guy, he was performing right up until the very end. He had his farewell concert 17 days before he died. Like he knew he was going to die, and he was going to go out with a bang. I was blown away by that. So, yeah, really fantastic performer. He comes in at number 10. Coming in at number 9 is Michael Stipe from REM. And Michael Stipe is one of those that you wouldn't necessarily call him a great vocalist per se, but he has one of those voices that is just really iconic. It's a very plain-spoken singing voice, but the clear passion and weight behind his words as he sings the songs, and the way he uses emphasis during his singing moments on songs like Losing My Religion. And I just really, really enjoy him as a vocal performer. And so yes, maybe he's not one of those powerhouse singers, but there's just a certain magic about listening to Michael Stipe sing that really draws me in. So yeah, Michael Stipe is another one. I'd probably know his voice anywhere. All right, number 8. And this is a big one, guys. This is one of those voices that you just never forget. And that is Dolores O'Riordan from the Cranberries. And man, she died so young. And I was just so sad when I heard that she had died. Just a fantastic voice, iconic voice. Songs like Zombie that the Cranberries did, her vocalizations on that song, and other songs as well, just is something I have never heard anyone else do. And I won't mention the fact that she's Irish. I mean, that just ups the ante right there, you know. She was an absolutely brilliant vocalist, and I really enjoyed listening to her sing. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the Cranberries. I like their music. I enjoy listening to them. But we're talking about iconic voices, guys, and these are the ones that stick out the most to me, and Dolores O'Riordan is number 8. Number 7 is Scott Weiland, and he was the front singer for Stone Temple Pilots. They have someone else singing for them now, but Scott Weiland had a really unique, like grungy voice that just stuck out to me. Like back in the day, I heard another band performing, and I could have sworn that it was Scott Weiland because it sounded almost just like him. And then when I found out that it wasn't him, I was like, oh, okay, well, the guy sounds just like him. But yeah, I could have sworn it was Scott Weiland, but it wasn't. He's just got one of those voices that is truly unique. And, you know, he died young as well. What is it with all these music artists dying so young? It's so sad. And a lot of it is from drug overdose. It's really unfortunate. Scott Weiland is a really fantastic singer. I don't think Stone Temple Pilots is the same now that he's no longer with them. There's just something about a voice that adds to a band, and you associate that voice with that band, and he's a hard one to beat. All right, so coming in at number 6, we've got David Coverdale from Whitesnake. And Whitesnake is a band that I was first introduced to, I think, in junior high. It was one of my first hard rock bands that I got introduced to. And man, I tell you what, he's got a voice that, again, is just so distinct. And when I was in high school, I heard a song that I was almost positive was David Coverdale singing. And it was a collaboration album called Coverdale Page. So it was David Coverdale singing and Jimmy Page on guitar. And oh man, that was such a good album. And that kind of brought me back to my Whitesnake days. But Whitesnake is a fantastic band. And again, I think a lot of it is due to David Coverdale's vocals. It's just hard to picture the band without the singer. So, and I don't think Whitesnake is still together. And I think David Coverdale has officially retired. I saw something about that. So, yeah, good times. It really takes me back. Coming in at number 5, Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam. Man, Eddie Vedder is just so different. Like, when I first started listening to Pearl Jam, I wasn't sure what I thought about his vocals. I really liked the punch that Pearl Jam brought to their instrumentation, and their music videos were just really, really dark and almost menacing at times. And then overlaying that with Eddie Vedder's vocals was just haunting at times. But I really grew to love Eddie Vedder, and today he's one of my favorite vocalists. He really is. But as far as an iconic voice goes, you can pretty much pick Eddie Vedder out in a crowd. His voice is just that well-known and distinct. And it really gives a disturbing tone to an already disturbing song in Jeremy. And there's so many other great Pearl Jam songs, but man, I remember seeing Jeremy for the first time, seeing the music video rather, and I was just like, oh my gosh, that song, it just sticks with you. It really does. So Eddie Vedder is amazing and iconic. All right, we're moving on to Chris Cornell. And Chris Cornell has been around a lot. He started with Soundgarden, and then he went to a collaboration album with other musicians. Eddie Vedder was one of those, in a tribute band called Temple of the Dog. And if I remember right, it was started because of a mutual friend of all of theirs that had died. And so this was kind of a tribute album to that person. But Chris Cornell is just a magnificent performer. His voice is really iconic, and I have just really enjoyed following his career for a long time. Soundgarden was one of my favorite bands in high school, and he's also been with Audioslave, and he did a solo career as well. You probably know him if you are a fan of the James Bond franchise, because he did the theme song for Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. He did the theme song for that. You Know My Name is the name of the song. One of my favorite songs of all time, guys. Such a great song, such a great vocalist, and again, gone too soon. That one hit me hard. You're probably noticing a trend in this video, guys, that despite what you may think of me, I'm a metalhead. I love me some metal. So yeah, that's kind of front-loaded on this list. Most of the people on here are metal performers. So yeah, Chris Cornell is number 4. Number 3 is David Draymond from Disturbed. This guy, ooh, he's got some vocals, and even when he gets into his grittier and more high-powered vocals, there's still a smoothness to it. even as you hear some of the grain come into his voice, it's almost like a smooth graininess. It just feels effortless when he's transitioning to those upper registers. One of the best songs I ever heard from Disturbed was The Sound of Silence, which is a cover of the Simon and Garfunkel original. I think it's better, leagues beyond the original by Paul Simon. I just absolutely love that song. And that's what really catapulted me into Disturbed fandom. When I heard that song, I was determined I was going to listen to other music of theirs, and I've developed such a deep love for the music of Disturbed, and it's really all due to David Draiman. That voice, just, I have a thing for vocalists, and you know, I really get attached to certain vocalists and their style, and I love listening to them, and I love listening to everything that they sing on, you know. So it's and maybe that comes from my passion for vocal performing when I was younger myself. I took private voice lessons for 2 years in high school and went to different competitions and stuff with it. So I have a real passion for vocal talent, and man, David Draiman, I'm surprised that he's at the bottom of my top 3, but he just is, because there's others that I like better than him and that are more iconic to me than him. But David Draiman's fantastic. If you have not listened to Disturb, you deserve to treat yourself and listen to Disturb. They've got some amazing rock ballads. Oh, just fantastic. All right, so number 2 is Amy Lee from Evanescence. I am a mega fan of Evanescence. I have all their albums. I've listened to all of their albums numerous times. Amy Lee's vocals just rip my heart to shreds. She's that good. And I mean, she's classically trained, plays numerous instruments, the piano included, of course, and just the lyrics that she writes and the melodies that she writes and the way it's incorporated in with the other instruments, and it's so atmospheric. Evanescence is in a particular category of metal called symphonic metal, and that's because it really does feel like a symphonic masterpiece, and Amy Lee is just amazing. Her spot in number 2 is well deserved, and she could have been possibly my favorite and most iconic vocalist on this list if it wasn't for my number 1 pick, and that's James Hetfield from Metallica. Now, you heard me say at the beginning of the video that Billy Joel is my favorite musician of all time. Metallica is my favorite metal band of all time. I would probably say my favorite band, period, of all time. Metallica and I have such a history early into my high school career. They had so many great hits that were very important to me growing up, and I just can sing them in my head. I hear them playing in my head, all those great epic musical moments, and James Hetfield is right at the forefront. Of all of the artists on this list, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt I could pick him up in a crowded musical room, because his voice was such an important voice to so many of the crucial years of my life. If things were not going according to plan, if I was just really stressed and not enjoying life, I would go and crank up a Metallica album as loud as it could go and just jam out to it. And the lyrics, and the way James Hetfield delivers those lyrics is just unmatched. There is no one that can match his performances. His voice can be so haunting at times on tracks like Unforgiven and Enter Sandman and Master of Puppets and Fade to Black and Nothing Else Matters. So many great songs. I've never heard a Metallica song that I did not like. Some I like better than others, granted. Some aren't as good as others are, but I have never disliked a Metallica song. And I don't think I'm going to start anytime soon. Metallica is one of those bands that transcends musicianship, and where they transcend to is art. They have had such a long and storied career, and they have morphed and changed as time has gone on, but they've still kept their spark, and they've still kept the essence of who Metallica is, and that voice from James Hetfield, that's art, guys. And I'm not saying these others aren't artists, but for me, James Hetfield is the most iconic voice in rock music. So that is it. That's all I've got. I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Who are some of the most iconic voices in rock music that you have heard? And who are some of your favorite rock artists? I would love to know. Please hit me up in the comments and tell me those things about you, and I'd love to have a dialogue with you. If you want to watch more of my content, you can check out the end screen here. And until next time, guys, make sure you read more books, but maybe you want to put on a good rock ballad while you're doing so. All right? Take care.